There. I pray you, give her air. Nature awakens a warm breath out of her. See how she begins to breathe into life's flower again. Behold, her eyelids begin to part their fringes of bright gold. The diamonds of a most praised water appear to make the world twice rich. Live and make us weep to hear your fate, fair creature, rare as you seem to be.
At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing to change the lives of millions of kids across America. We do whatever it takes.
Cerimon House, located in Alberta Arts in Portland, Oregon. We've spent the last decade being a good neighbor in our region's hottest center of creativity.
I pray you, give her air.
We've elevated storytelling, dance, visual arts, music, and theater. We connect, commune, and catalyze what makes us human. And now, we're digital too. With our platform, we now find our neighbors everywhere. Musicians and artists can reach the world. Storytellers can touch millions of hearts and fire the imaginations of a new generation. And we can bring the world's art and stories to you. Our story with you starts here in Portland, Oregon. But we are all part of a human tapestry. Help us weave something beautiful. Donate today. CerimonHouse.org.
Your DJ tonight is the amazing DJ Black Daria. Thank you for setting the vibe. What you create makes all of us want to move. Good evening and welcome to Cerimon House's event, Rip City, Rise Up. We're together online tonight to spark and inspire you, the people in our communities, no matter where you are. It's time to create, to be curious, and to raise your game. My name is Billy Edson. I serve Cerimon House on its board. And Cerimon House, a nonprofit located in Northeast Portland, Oregon, in turn serves artists and communities. We have a huge space in Portland for COVID-safe events and production, and a growing online platform where artists and community groups continue to innovate, create, and communicate. Our goal, to uplift artists, to bring about conversations that inspire while giving a national community of artists, starting here in Portland, ways to expand their audiences and opportunities. Kevin Carroll is here as a living example of what we mean. He's a Portland resident for whom community, conversation, and creativity are in his bones. Whatever he writes, whenever he speaks, he inspires. Tonight, he's going all out to help Cerimon House raise money for our programs, as well as for another nonprofit dear to our hearts, the Boys and Girls Clubs of the Portland metro area. Check out the link below to donate. Your generous gifts will help both organizations in these challenging economic times. And we have something for you. Casey has conceived and curated a chance to bid at the link on 2 mystery boxes. Plus, to memorialize your evening with us, we have consummate sketch artist Elson illustrating Casey's message in real time. So, Rip City, rise up.
Rip City, rise up. What's going on? Welcome, welcome, welcome. This is your host, Kevin Carroll, Catalyst, Northeast PDX based. Thrilled to be spending time with you all today. My gosh, we've been dealing here, but we're going to bring you a little bit of opportunity to listen, learn, lead, get to the other side, raise your game, and rise up. We're going to share some stories, some simple truths, some insights, but most importantly, we're going to share community, creativity, curiosity, and celebrate. What I know to be true is that Portland, the Rip City, we got it going on here. No matter what the narrative has been spun about us, we're about that action. And so we're going to celebrate the community and all the things that we're about. So I thought I would start off with a quote from the notorious RBG. We are different, we are one. We are different, but we are one. And I want that to be the through line through our entire conversation this evening. So as we start to lean into this, I thought I would talk about a look at where we are. The unexpected. It's been unsettling. It's been unprecedented. It's been upsetting. The uncertainty, the unthinkable, the unknown, the unrest, the uprising, the uproar, the upheaval. Then the unimaginable. People getting uprooted. It's been unbearable. But I know this to be true. A pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity. An optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. And that's our opportunity. Optimism for the win. That's how we're going to win the day. So let's go. Now we've got an opportunity to listen and learn. And so I thought I would start off with the simple truth. I know we've been dealing with this COVID, this pandemic. It hit us hard. It was not easy at all. It was challenging. And I know one of the other things that it's created is anxiety. It's a lot of people dealing with a lot of difficulty and uncertainty, especially young people. A lot of the parents and grown-ups in the lives of young people have not had it easy trying to help manage that with them. But I want to say this, and I know this to be true, if we find a way to belong, if we find a way to connect, if we find a way to be a part of a community, we can get through this together. It's the only way we're going to do it. So the more that I started to think about that, I thought about some things I wanted to share with you all. And one of the things I wanted to share was a parable. The wolf you feed. One evening, a Cherokee elder told his grandson about a battle that goes on inside people. He said, "My son, the battle's between two wolves inside us all. One is evil. It is anger, envy, jealousy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith." The grandson thought about it for a minute and then asked his grandfather, "Which wolf wins?" The Cherokee elder simply replied, "The one you feed." You get a choice every single day. You can raise your game, or you can stay in that place of anxiety and uncertainty and the unknown. I know this to be true about this city. We are always about community. We are always about curiosity. We're always about creativity. And most importantly, we're about celebrating that with our ideas, our innovation, our breakthrough moments. And so the more that we start to think about how to lean into that, how to represent that, how to celebrate that, I go back to the idea of belonging. So I learned about the importance of belonging from my childhood. I had some difficult circumstances that could have basically knocked me back on my heels, and I wouldn't be standing in front of you all right now. But this I know to be true. Resilience is one of the things that young people, the kids in our lives, have abundance of. They have the ability to be very resilient and adaptable. The grown-ups, they used to be kids, I like to call you the kidults. You can learn a lot from the children. But one of the things I want to remind you, they do what they see. They're watching you. You're modeling for them. The more that you are demonstrating that you've got grit and you've got grace, they'll lean into that. But if you're not demonstrating that and you're wondering why they're having difficulty, they're having, basically they're being a hot mess, look at you. Look at how you're showing up. They do what they see. And so the more that we start to recognize we get a choice every single day, will we celebrate the opportunities and optimism, or will we lean into the evil and the worry and the concern and the unknown? That's the opportunity that I want to present to all of us today. There's opportunities to listen and learn. And the more that we start to understand that, sustained determination will be the way that we get through this. That's the way that I look at resilience. Resilience is about sustained determination. So how are you tapping into that? How are you finding a way to make certain that you're not going to lean into the anxiety, the worry, the concern, the unknown? You're not going to allow that to dictate your destiny. I know this to be true. Circumstances do not have to dictate someone's destiny. We can rise above suffering and circumstances if we come together as a community. And so the more that we start to recognize that, we could win. So I want to say humanity for the win. If we lean into that opportunity, if we identify that, anything truly is possible. I want to leave you with this simple thought before we go to our first little short break. We are drowning in information while starving for wisdom. We are drowning in information while starving for wisdom. We'll be back after a short break. Don't go anywhere. DJ Daria, take us out.
For as long as we've existed, Boys and Girls Clubs has always been about coming together to support the families of our communities and do whatever it takes to give every kid a chance at a great future. But we're going through a challenging time right now. And while we may not all be able to come together in the same physical ways, in other ways, we're coming together like never before. Because that's what whatever it takes to build great futures means. It means providing a safe place to go for children whose parents are on the front lines battling the virus. It means providing millions of meals for kids who previously relied on their school or a meal program, which are now shut down. And it's about harnessing the power of technology to keep kids moving forward with their education. So yeah, whatever it takes to build great futures may mean something different right now. But whatever it is, that's exactly what we're going to keep doing.
Welcome back. Did you have a nice little break? See those PSAs talking about our partners, Boys and Girls Club of Portland Metro and Cerimon House. So I love the fact that the Boys and Girls Club is a place to have fun, right? A positive place, but most importantly, a place to engage the youth. And I think that's so important as we look at places where they can be lifted up and raise their game. And Cerimon House is all about the community, creativity, curiosity, and ceremony. I like to say celebration. And so having them as partners in this, as we're trying to put on this amazing opportunity to lift the spirits of our community, to raise our game, I'm so thrilled to have them as partners. So I'm thinking that our conversation now, especially with that in mind, is about leading. And when we think about leading, I think about the opportunity for us, especially the used to be kids, to become better grown-ups. So when we start thinking about how can we be better grown-ups, I think it's a really simple thing. Let's start with empathy. Let's start with empathy. Showing up, recognizing that everybody's dealing with something. Now, one of the things that is a phenomenon from this whole pandemic and all the things that have come from that, the sadness, right, of all the lives lost, but most importantly, the collective loss. Globally, everybody has lost something, and it's not been easy to navigate that. We're all grieving in our own way, whether it is your 2 or 3-year-old all the way up to your grandparents, right? Everyone is grieving. Everyone is dealing with the loss. They're going through that process of finding a way to get to the other side of this. But if we can get to that 6th stage, the 6th stage of grieving that David Kessler identified as finding meaning, if we could find meaning through all of this, imagine what we could create. And so what I decided to do during the pandemic was actually this idea of reverse mentoring. I wanted to learn from young people. I wanted to go back to that resilience that they have, that adaptability, their natural ability to pivot when they're dealing with some difficult. And so I learned from young people in my neighborhood and all around the country. And so I wanted to share with you some of the things I've learned from some young people. So I learned from Vivian Blair. She's an 8-year-old. She had this profound insight. Hurt people hurt people. Hurt people hurt people. She said this on a Zoom call, right? And she said, I want to know who hurt you that you want to hurt other people. 8 years old. And then my neighbor, he's an amazing young man. And we get to spend a lot of time having conversations. E is my guy. He leaves me notes. And so I've had lots of notes from E over the years. And these are just some of the notes that he will leave me, checking on me, saying hello to me, dropping off vegetables from time to time. He's just an amazing young man. And then my godson and I have been doing art all through the pandemic. So he actually teaches me art. He's 7 years old. And he has been teaching me amazing art projects and opportunities to do things. And what I love about him, he is a fearless artist. He's allowed me to tap back into my curiosity and my creative spirit and my energy. We can learn from the youth. Becoming a better grown-up is about listening to them and paying attention, but modeling for them. They do what they see. We're going to have another short break. And when we come back, we're going to have another discussion about how to get to the other side. And so one of the things I want you all to understand is as you're leaning into this, start thinking about, are you showing up with empathy? Are you doing an opportunity to learn from the young ones? DJ Daria, take us out.
Cerimon House, located in Alberta Arts in Portland, Oregon. We've spent the last decade being a good neighbor in our region's hottest center of creativity.
I pray you, give her air.
We've elevated storytelling, dance, visual arts, music, and theater. We connect, commune, and catalyze what makes us human. And now, we're digital too. With our platform, we now find our neighbors everywhere. Musicians and artists can reach the world. Storytellers can touch millions of hearts and fire the imaginations of a new generation. And we can bring the world's art and stories to you. Our story with you starts here in Portland, Oregon. But we are all part of a human tapestry. Help us weave something beautiful. Donate today. CerimonHouse.org.
So, we've got an opportunity for you to assist two really vital organizations. So I want you all to be finding a way to assist these organizations that are about lifting the youth, but even more importantly, helping artists and creatives in our community. So you'll have an opportunity, you'll see the URL on the screen where you can tap into donating to the Cerimon House, but also an opportunity to auction, to bid on an auction item, two specifically curated boxes that I put together, some amazing inspo tools that I personally identified and put into these boxes. And so they are chock full of resources to raise your game, for you to be good, better, best, to find a way to raise that. And so the auction items will be available. There'll be a URL for that. And Cerimon House, you can donate to that, and that will go to the Boys and Girls Club and to Cerimon House. So now we have an opportunity to get to the other side. So start to think about how we will tap into curiosity, creativity, grit and grace, gratitude, and most importantly, being present. The idea of that I thought we would share really simply. Stay curious. Curiosity will always serve you well. The more that you look up and not look at a small screen, the better you're going to do. There's many, many answers on the screen called life. The big screen called life is in HD and 3D, by the way. So look up every once in a while. Shift your gaze, change your perspective, stay curious. Little bit of grit and grace. Mental toughness will serve you well, especially in these challenging times. Find a way to lean into that resilience and that grit. The more that you lean into that, the more that you'll find solutions and opportunities. But the only way that you're going to be able to do that, you got to be present. Be where your feet are. Be where your feet are. Be present, be in the moment. Stay in the moment. More mindfulness will serve you well. And mindfulness about being in the moment, that's going to allow you to tap into your creative energy. The more that you tap into your creative energy, you'll find ways to problem solve in unexpected and surprise and delight ways. And I'm all about this, some grace and gratitude. The more that I find a way to be grateful for what I have each and every day, the more that I can find a way to raise my game. So the more that you're using that curiosity, you're bringing a bit of that being where your feet are, you're finding a way to be more and more leaning into grit and grace, that mental toughness, and I think most importantly, having that gratitude. Having that gratitude for what you get. As my grandfather said, when you see the light of day, that's a good start, right? And he would always say, it's better to be seen than viewed, right? Y'all get that, right? It's better to be seen than viewed, right? So that's a good start to the day. And then he would always say you got to check your want to every single day. Can't do anything with a broke want to. You got to want to be better, got to want to be unique, want to make your ideas, your dreams real. So check your want to. Don't talk about it, be about it. If you're trying to raise your game, if you're trying to be better, the only way you're going to do that is to lean into this opportunity, to be more present and more focused. And so one of the things I started to realize is as we're going to get to the other side, we could celebrate. What would the other side look like? We are unparalleled. We're unbreakable. We're undaunted. We're undeterred. We're unmistakable. We're unbelievable. We're undeniable. We're unique. We're indomitable. We're unlike any other. Rip City, rise up. That's what we're about. So the more that we imagine the possibility of getting to the other side, which I know we can, and we rally each other together, anything truly will be possible. So leaning into that, finding a way to be, as the notorious RBG would say, being more collegial. So collegiality, which is something that she actually did her whole platform, how she showed up for her work in the Supreme Court, is about respect to one another's commitment to a common purpose. Let's be more collegial. Let's respect each other's direction and attitude, but we're all in this for a common purpose. I'll say it once again. We are different. We are one. The more that we lean into that idea, anything truly is possible. And the more that we start to think about that opportunity, I know we're going to find a way. And so the only way you can really do that is you got to have some magic. And so this is about bringing that possibility. So listen, I know some of you adults look at this bottle of magic and said, what is he doing with that bottle of magic? And I know all the kids out there lost their minds. They're like, Kevin's got some magic? Can he pour some on me? I have presented this bottle to youth all over the world. Never fails. They want some. I'm imploring the adults that used to be grown-ups to witness this moment. Sometimes there are things that are not easily explained that you got to be willing to lean into and trust and believe that it's available. That's magic. The more that you find that opportunity and you uncork the possibilities, look, we can raise our game. DJ Black Daria is going to take us out. We'll be back to send you all off with a little conversation around the sketch that Allison and the Sketch Effect have been putting together around this conversation. DJ Black Daria, take us out.
Clubs are providing millions of meals to communities, childcare to first responders, and virtual programming. We're doing whatever it takes to help families get through this crisis, but we can't do this alone.
Cerimon House, located in Alberta Arts in Portland, Oregon. We've spent the last decade being a good neighbor in our region's hottest center of creativity.
I pray you, give her air.
We've elevated storytelling, dance, visual arts, music, and theater. We connect, commune, and catalyze what makes us human. And now, we're digital too. With our platform, we now find our neighbors everywhere. Musicians and artists can reach the world. Storytellers can touch millions of hearts and fire the imaginations of a new generation. And we can bring the world's art and stories to you. Our story with you starts here in Portland, Oregon. But we are all part of a human tapestry. Help us weave something beautiful. Donate today. CerimonHouse.org.
Welcome back. So we're going to actually take a look at what the sketch effect and my guy Allison has been putting together around this story. And I want to remind all of you that this is going to be available to anyone who actually donates $200 or more. This sketch will be free to you as a gift. And even more so, what I love to share with you all is that any school district that contacts the Cerimon House team, Paul at cerimonhouse.org, you will actually get the sketch and the recording of this conversation at no cost. We want to make sure that enough young people, as many young people as possible, are learning from this conversation. So Allison has put together some really great things, and I want to actually take you through the journey that Allison has put together via the sketch effect. So we started off with DJ Black Daria, right? And she was sharing, doing her thing, spinning on the ones and twos, right? Giving us some nice soulful music. And then we had an introduction from one of the board members. Billy from the board of the Cerimon House introduced me. And so then we started into our conversation, right? And I love the idea of we are different, but we are one. The more that we start to think about that, how do we find ways to connect? And as we start to think about that, we have to decide how we're going to show up each day. The wolf you feed. Will it be the evil or will it be the good wolf? That's the choice that you get every single day. And one of the things that you start to realize is you don't want to feed into the anxiety that has been created by the pandemic. It's been a challenge, I know that. But the more that you recognize that you've got community, you've got people who are supporting you, who believe in you, we all have a fighting chance. And the more that we start to do that, you tap into your resilience. That's sustained determination, your ability to be adaptable, malleable, recognizing that, yes, we're going to get to the other side and we're going to be better for this because we're going through a collective crucible. We all are dealing with loss. But we're all going to find a way to get to the other side and find meaning. And the more that we are able to find meaning, I think one of the things we start to understand is this, is that once we find that meaning, we have purpose every single day. And when you have that purpose, you have a reason to get out of bed. You got to have a reason to get out of bed. So what brings you that joy? What gets you out of bed? What's going to get you so that you want to go and chase that after day after day after day? And the more that you start to realize that, we can learn from a lot of people. I mentioned the idea of reverse mentoring, right? Vivian Blair, her lovely hurt people. So who hurt you that you want to hurt others? And so thinking about that, but even more importantly, my neighbors, right? And the things I've been learning from E and Golda and from my godson, Marco, the things I've been learning from them. Most importantly, how to stay curious, know that everybody has a story, and that we all can lean into that curiosity and our creativity. And the more that we start to recognize that staying curious can really be helpful, then we lean into some real life lessons. How to stay that persistence, that fight, that mental toughness, that grit. Most importantly, be where your feet are, stay present. Right? When you show up, be present for others. The more that you recognize the importance of that, don't talk about it, be about it. Right? The moment that you start to realize that you're about that action, people want to rally around you. But if you're someone just running your mouth, people don't want to be around you. So how do you demonstrate that you're about that action? And one of the things that I know is you have to be courageous. Right? Courage is shown in acts, not in words. It is not bluffing, arrogance, or madness. A courageous man or woman is the one who dares to do what he or she finds is right and bears the consequences of his or her acts, whether they be political, social, or individual. Have courage. And the more that you have courage, you can lean into these opportunities. You can raise your game. Anything truly is possible, but you can't forget a little bit of magic. Uncork the possibilities. Having those eyes of a child, eyes of wonder that anything is possible, and that belief that if I tap into community, creativity, curiosity, and we celebrate each other, anything is possible. I'll say it once again. We are different, but we are one. And we've got an amazing opportunity here. So Rip City, rise up, raise your game. I appreciate all of you coming and tuning in. Godspeed, peace and play, game on. Rip City, I love me some Rip City. DJ Daria, take us home.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
Cerimon House, located in Alberta Arts in Portland, Oregon. We've spent the last decade being a good neighbor in our region's hottest center of creativity.
I pray you, give her air.
We've elevated storytelling, dance, visual arts, music, and theater. We connect, commune, and catalyze what makes us human. And now, we're digital too. With our platform, we now find our neighbors everywhere. Musicians and artists can reach the world. Storytellers can touch millions of hearts and fire the imaginations of a new generation. And we can bring the world's art and stories to you. Our story with you starts here in Portland, Oregon. But we are all part of a human tapestry. Help us weave something beautiful. Donate today. CerimonHouse.org.
We want to thank all of you for attending Rip City Rise Up, but we also want to thank all the people behind the scenes who made this possible. First and foremost, my DJ Black Daria. Find her at DJ Black Daria on her IG. Always remember to tip your DJ, take good care of her. I want to thank Boys and Girls Club Portland Metro, Left Door Streaming, The Sketch Effect, and my man Allison. Most importantly, my key collaborators on this project, on this endeavor, Paul, Will, Billy, the Cerimon House. Much love, much gratitude, mad respect for what you've done. I'm KC Carroll. I'm out.
Thank you, Casey. I'm all fired up now. Thank you for joining us tonight. Your support of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Portland Metro area and Cerimon House means everything, and our gratitude is broad and deep. Thank you, Aaron Hubert and Natalie Carlberg of the Boys and Girls Clubs. Thank you, DJ Black Daria. Seriously, so great. Allison Chu from Sketch Effect. You prove yet again that new ways of seeing and understanding have power and bring joy. And thank you to our dear friends and live streaming maestros from Left Door Streaming. Tonight's show will be available as a paid download in the coming weeks. All download purchases support the Boys and Girls Clubs of Portland Metro area and Cerimon House. In the meantime, follow us at cerimonhouse.org or on our Facebook page. It's time to rise up and also to say goodnight. I'm Billy Edson, live from Cerimon House. Thanks for joining us.